The dense forest of the Land of Fire was eerily silent, save for the rustling of leaves stirred by a cold, unnatural wind. High above the canopy, a lone figure stood atop a towering tree, his dark cloak fluttering like the wings of a fallen angel. Sasuke Uchiha's crimson Sharingan gleamed in the dim light, scanning the terrain below with predatory focus. His left eye, the Rinnegan, pulsed with an eerie violet glow, its power humming beneath his skin like a caged storm. He had come for one purpose: to test the limits of his newfound dominance over the tailed beasts. Not far away, the ground trembled as a monstrous chakra flared to life. A deafening roar split the air as the four tails, Son Goku, emerged from the trees, his massive form wreathed in molten lava. The giant ape-like beast bared his fangs, his voice a thunderous growl. "Uchiha brat. You dare summon me like some common servant?" Sasuke didn't flinch. His expression remained impassive, his stance relaxed yet poised for annihilation. "I don't need your cooperation," he said coolly. "Your power belongs to me now." Son Goku snarled, his lava-coated fists slamming into the earth, sending fissures racing toward Sasuke's perch. The Uchiha vanished in a blur of speed, reappearing midair as the ground beneath the tree exploded in a geyser of molten rock. With a flick of his wrist, Sasuke's Rinnegan activated, the black receivers of the outer path materializing in his palm. He hurled them like lightning, the rods piercing the beast's flesh, forcing a pained roar from the creature. "You think these puny stakes can hold me?" Son Goku bellowed, his chakra surging as he attempted to break free. But the Rinnegan's power was absolute, the rods siphoned his energy, weakening his resistance. Sasuke's eyes narrowed as he formed a series of rapid hand seals. Chibaku Tensei. The sky darkened as a massive gravitational force condensed above the beast, pulling rocks, trees, and debris into a swirling orb of destruction. Son Goku struggled, his lava spewing in wild arcs, but the Rinnegan's pull was inexorable. The ground beneath him cracked as he was lifted into the air, his massive limbs flailing uselessly against the crushing weight of the technique. "Damn you, Uchiha." Before the orb could fully form, a streak of orange blurred across the battlefield. A fist wreathed in blue chakra smashed into Sasuke's defenses, forcing him to leap back as the shockwave shattered the surrounding trees. Naruto Uzumaki landed in a crouch, his nine tails chakra mode blazing like a golden inferno, his eyes locked onto his former friend with a mixture of fury and sorrow. "Sasuke. What the hell are you doing?" Sasuke smirked, his Rinnegan spinning lazily. "Collecting what's necessary for my revolution." Naruto's fists clenched. "This isn't the way. Using the tailed beasts like tools, that's no better than the Akatsuki." "Spare me your hypocrisy," Sasuke spat. "You cling to your ideals while the world remains shackled by its own weakness. I will break those chains, even if I must become a demon to do it." Without another word, Sasuke lunged, his Chokudo blade flashing as he aimed for Naruto's throat. The Jinchuriki twisted, deflecting the strike with a kunai before countering with a spinning kick. Sasuke blocked with his forearm, the impact sending a shockwave through the air. Naruto followed up with a Rasengan, the spiraling sphere of chakra roaring in his palm, but Sasuke's Rinnegan saw it coming. He phased through the attack, his body dissolving into shadows before reforming behind Naruto. Amaterasu. Black flames erupted, searing toward Naruto, but the nine tails chakra flared, forming a protective cloak that repelled the cursed fire. Naruto retaliated with a barrage of tailed beast balls, the explosive orbs hurtling towards Sasuke with devastating speed. The Uchiha dodged the first two, but the third detonated midair, engulfing him in a fiery explosion. For a moment, the battlefield was silent. Then, from the smoke, Sasuke emerged unscathed, his Susanoo skeletal ribs shielding him. The violet energy expanded, forming a full-bodied warrior clad in armor, its massive sword humming with power. Naruto didn't hesitate, his own chakra surged, the nine tails form manifesting in a towering cloak of golden energy. The two titans clashed, sword meeting claw in a cataclysmic shockwave that flattened the surrounding forest. The earth split beneath them, their battle shaking the heavens. Sasuke's Rinnegan allowed him to anticipate Naruto's every move, but the Jinchuriki's sheer tenacity kept him on the offensive. "You still don't get it, do you?" Naruto growled between strikes. "Power isn't about controlling others, it's about protecting them." Sasuke's eyes flashed with something unreadable, anger, regret, or perhaps the faintest hint of doubt. But it vanished as quickly as it came. "Then prove it," he challenged. "Stop me if you can." The battle raged on, two legends colliding in a storm of fire and fury, each determined to carve their vision of the future into the world. And as the dust settled, one truth remained: this was only the beginning. The battlefield trembled as Sasuke's Rinnegan pulsed with dark energy, his gaze locking onto the rampaging tailed beasts. Around him, the air crackled with tension, the weight of the conflict pressing down on every combatant. Naruto, his cloak of chakra flickering like wildfire, clenched his fists, his blue eyes burning with determination. "We can't let him control them again," he growled, his voice cutting through the chaos. Without hesitation, Sasuke raised his hand, the Rinnegan's concentric rings spinning rapidly. A surge of power erupted as the tailed beasts roared, their movements suddenly jerky, their wills bending to his command. The eight tails, Gyuki, thrashed violently, its massive tails whipping through the air as it fought against the mental intrusion. "Damn it, B, snap out of it," Naruto shouted, darting forward in a golden blur. Kurama's chakra flared around him, forming a massive fist that slammed into Gyuki's side, sending the beast skidding back. But before Naruto could press the advantage, the three tails, Isabu, barreled toward him, its spiked shell gleaming under the moonlight. Naruto twisted midair, barely avoiding the crushing impact, and retaliated with a Rasen shuriken. The spiraling disk of wind screeched as it carved into Isabu's hide, forcing the beast back with a pained bellow. Sasuke watched coldly from above, his Sharingan tracking every movement. "Predictable," he muttered, his fingers weaving a rapid series of hand signs. A colossal Susanoo materialized around him, its skeletal frame cloaked in violet flames. The perfect Susanoo's sword cleaved downward, splitting the earth as Naruto barely leapt aside. The shockwave sent debris flying, forcing the other shinobi to scatter. Sakura, her fists glowing with chakra-enhanced strength, lunged at Sasuke's flank. "You're not doing this alone, Naruto," she yelled, her punch connecting with the Susanoo's ribcage. Cracks spiderwebbed across the construct, but Sasuke merely smirked. With a flick of his wrist, he teleported behind her, his sword poised to strike. A kunai embedded itself in the ground between them, and in a flash of yellow, Minato appeared, his flying thunder god technique saving Sakura at the last second. "You'll have to be faster than that," Minato said coolly, his Rasengan humming in his palm as he countered Sasuke's blade. The clash sent shockwaves rippling outward, but Sasuke wasn't done. His Rinnegan flared, and suddenly, the tailed beast's chakra surged, their eyes glazing over completely. One by one, they turned, their maws opening as Baijuu bombs formed, the spheres of condensed destruction swelling ominously. Naruto gritted his teeth. "We need to break his control." He reached deep within, calling upon Kurama's full power. His cloak erupted into a blazing mantle of red and gold, 9 tails of pure chakra lashing behind him. "Let's go, Kurama." The Kyuubi's massive form manifested, its roar shaking the heavens. Naruto stood atop its head, his eyes locked onto Sasuke. "We're ending this now." The battlefield erupted into chaos as the tailed beasts unleashed their Baijuu bombs. Kurama countered with his own, the collision of energy creating a cataclysmic explosion that lit up the night. Through the smoke and debris, Sasuke's Susanoo lunged, its sword swinging in a deadly arc. Naruto met it head-on, Kurama's claws clashing against the ethereal blade. Sakura and the others fought to hold off the other beasts, their teamwork and sheer willpower pushing them beyond their limits. Rock Lee's gates pulsed with green energy as he delivered devastating kicks to the 5 tails, while Gaara's sand coiled around the 2 tails, restraining its movements. But Sasuke wasn't idle. His Rinnegan's power reached its zenith, the tailed beast's struggles weakening as his control solidified. "It's over," he declared, his voice icy. Naruto refused to yield. With a final, desperate surge, he channeled every ounce of his chakra, his Rasengan expanding into a massive, swirling sphere of raw power. "No, it's not." The two forces collided in a blinding explosion, the shockwave tearing through the landscape. When the dust settled, both combatants stood battered but unbroken. Sasuke's Rinnegan flickered, his control slipping as the tailed beasts began to stir. Naruto panted, his body aching, but his spirit unshaken. "We're not done yet." Sasuke's lips curled into a smirk. "No," he agreed, his eyes gleaming with challenge. "We're just getting started." The battle raged on, neither side willing to back down, the fate of the world hanging in the balance. The battlefield trembled as Sasuke's Rinnegan pulsed with an eerie violet glow, the very air crackling with the weight of his power. Before him, the last of the tailed beasts roared in defiance, their massive forms dwarfing the surrounding ruins. Naruto, battered but unbroken, stood at his side, golden chakra flaring like a second sun. "This ends now," Sasuke muttered, his voice a blade of cold resolve. The fight had raged for hours, each clash reshaping the landscape. The 10 tails remnants lay scattered, its monstrous will subdued but not yet destroyed. The remaining beasts, Gyuki, Kurama, and the others, struggled against Sasuke's control, their eyes flickering between defiance and forced submission. Naruto gritted his teeth, feeling Kurama's anguish ripple through their bond. "We can't let him do this." Kurama snarled internally, but Naruto knew Sasuke's plan was the only way to prevent another cycle of war. With a flick of his wrist, Sasuke's Rinnegan flared, chains of chakra lashing out like serpents to ensnare the beasts. Gyuki bellowed, its tentacles thrashing, but the chains held fast, their grip unrelenting. Naruto surged forward, his Rasengan spinning violently in his palm. "I won't let you take their freedom," he shouted, but Sasuke's Sharingan predicted his move, a swift sidestep, a retaliatory strike. Their fists collided, shockwaves tearing through the earth. Sasuke's eyes narrowed. "You're too sentimental. This power must be controlled, or it will destroy everything." His voice was steel, but Naruto saw the flicker of doubt, the same hesitation that had haunted him since their childhood. The moment stretched, a heartbeat of understanding between them. Then, with a roar, Naruto pushed forward, his chakra erupting in a blinding explosion. "There's another way," he insisted, his words cutting through the chaos. The tailed beasts trembled, their roars shifting from fury to something deeper, recognition. Kurama's voice echoed in Naruto's mind. "He's right, Naruto. Sasuke's power. It doesn't have to be a cage." The revelation struck like lightning. Sasuke's Rinnegan wasn't just a tool of domination, it was a bridge. With a final, desperate surge, Naruto reached out, not with force, but with trust. His chakra intertwined with Sasuke's, merging their wills. The Rinnegan's chains shimmered, transforming from binds into bonds. The beast's struggle ceased as understanding dawned. They weren't being controlled, but connected. The battlefield fell silent. The 10 tails remnants dissolved into motes of light, its malice finally purged. Sasuke staggered, his Rinnegan dimming, but his gaze never wavered from Naruto. "You always saw further than me," he admitted, his voice raw. The aftermath was a world reborn. The tailed beasts, no longer feared as weapons, became guardians, their power shared willingly. Villages once divided now stood united, their leaders humbled by the cost of war. Naruto and Sasuke, their rivalry tempered into brotherhood, stood as living symbols of what cooperation could achieve. As the sun rose over the shattered land, Naruto clapped a hand on Sasuke's shoulder. "Guess we finally figured it out, huh?" Sasuke smirked, the ghost of his old defiance flickering. "Took you long enough." And with that, the future began.